Hello, this is Michelle Gilbo with the AudioScribe Corporation. In this video, I'm going to talk about creating a cleanup macro. Cleanup macros are used to get documents ready for vocabulary building or learn from specific documents. We are going to create a folder where we can save documents that we want to clean up. And to get to our File Explorer, we click on the Manila folder in our taskbar. We're going to go to the C drive, the Windows C drive. You may have to scroll down to this PC and click on the C drive. And then we're going to go to Topic Files. And in this folder, if you do not have a folder already that says to be cleaned, we need to create one. And to do so, we'll click on the new folder button in the button bar, and we will name this folder to be cleaned. Great. Now that we've done that, we're going to minimize this. And I've taken the liberty of having a couple of transcripts ready for this purpose, and this is the transcript I'm going to work with. I'm going to double click on it to open it. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do File, Save As, and I'm going to point to the folder that I just created, which is C, Topic Files, to be cleaned. Now, when you're saving a document to this folder, you should consider that you would need to save it based on the subject matter of the document. This is important because in the future, when you want to run things through Vocabulary Builder, you may be very picky and want to run only things of a certain subject matter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to name this UN Disability. I'm going to go ahead and leave it as a document, and I'm going to click on Save. Now, notice that it's changed the name, so now I'm working with the document that I just saved versus the original. The first thing that we want to do when we're working on documents to clean up is delete any cover pages and any certificate pages that may exist. So we'll scroll to the end of the document and we'll delete the disclaimer there as well. I'm going to press Control Home to get to the top of the document. And before I start the macro to clean up the transcript, typically what we do in a cleanup macro is we remove extra spaces, tabs, section breaks. And before we do that, I usually like to clean up the speakers in a transcript because I'm a purist and I believe that making the document look the way Dragon sees it is very important. Therefore, I'm going to show you how I clean up the speakers. Now, in this transcript, my speakers look like this: the name of the person, a colon, and a few spaces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight the first speaker all the way to the beginning of the text that was dictated, and I'm going to do Control C to copy. Control H is going to bring up the replace box for me, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to press Control V, which is the paste hotkey. And if you get familiar with the Windows hotkeys, it makes your life a lot easier. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to put the marker, the written form of the marker for speaker 1. Basically, when I start cleaning up speakers, I start with number 1 and work my way down. So this person is going to be speaker 1. So the written form of speaker 1 is asterisk, and this needs to be in all caps, speaker 1 asterisk, space. We need to make sure that we put that space after the word speaker, and then we'll do replace all. And I'm going to click on OK. And now, because I don't know where the next speaker is, I do Control F to find. Sorry, I'll have to close that. Control F to find. And I'm going to type in colon space space. And this is going to take me to the next speaker. It's a lot of repetitiveness, so I'm going to highlight the speaker, Control C to copy, Control H to bring up the replace dialog, Control V to paste the new speaker name, and then I'm going to simply come into speaker 1 and change that 1 to a 2 and do replace all. Then I'll come back to this find box here, search for colon space space, go to the next speaker, highlight, Control C to copy, Control H to open the replace, Control V to put the speaker name in, and then I will change that speaker from 2 to 3. And then I'm going to continue on without narrating the remainder of the speakers using the same hotkeys I've been using. Okay, so I'm done with the speakers now. So I'm going to press Control Home. And you may ask, why do we need to replace the speakers? Well, what you're looking at where it says Speaker 1, it is my pleasure to welcome you. When Dragon hears you say SPE1, this is what it sees. It doesn't see the name of the person that you have typed into the speaker field. So, being the purist, I prefer to have my speakers look this way in the text that I'm going to run through Dragon. Does it have to be? No, it does not. If you don't have a lot of time to go through and run the speakers and do the speakers like I just did, it is better to run documents through without the formatted speakers than not run any through at all. So just keep that in mind. If you're doing coursework, there's typically only 3 or 4 speakers, sometimes even 1. So keep that in mind. This was a hearing with lots of people, and there will be hearings that have much more people. So just keep that in mind when you're cleaning up transcripts and decide what you're going to do. Now on to the fun part. We are now going to create a cleanup macro. In the macro, we're going to clean up space. So what we're going to do first is we're going to go to View, Macros, and we're going to click on the down arrow, and we're going to click on Record. We're going to name the macro. We're going to call it Clean Space. Okay, and we're going to click on OK. Now, I want you to notice that the cursor now has a diskette. That is indicating to you that it is actually in record mode. So first, we're going to be doing replacing. So what is the hotkey for replacement? Control H. So I press Control H, and I'm going to clear out the stuff that was remnant from cleaning up my speakers. I'm going to put my cursor back in the Find What box. I'm going to click on More. I'm going to click on Special. I'm going to start with paragraph mark. Then you'll come down to the Replace, and you will put 1 space. We'll click on Replace All, and it is going to go through and find all the paragraph marks and replace them with 1 space. I click on OK. Next, I want you to notice that the Find What is highlighted. We're going to come to Special. We're going to choose Tab Mark. We've already got the 1 space and replace with, and we're not going to change that. We're going to leave it as is, and we're going to do Replace All. There were none. You may have some in some documents. We'll go back to Find What, go to Special, and we'll do Section Break. We'll do Replace All. And last is white space. White space is going to take away any places where there is more than one space. So we'll do replace all. This can be time consuming in a long document. We'll click on all done, close out of this, and our document is ready to go. So first of all, what we're going to do before we move on is we have to actually stop our macro. So let's stop the macro. And now we're going to actually create a button for the macro. So we will go to File, Options. We're going to find the Quick Access toolbar. Just so you know, this is the Quick Access toolbar. Above File, where you see the diskette. So what we're going to do here is we're going to choose Commands From. We're going to click on the down arrow and we're going to choose Macros. You should now see the macro. It should say normal.newmacros.cleanspace. We're going to add this to our Quick Access toolbar, but we want to click on Modify because we want to change the button. I typically will do the little broom, but in this instance, we're going to go ahead and change it to, you can pick any icon that you want as long as it's something that is not used. I'm going to choose the Magic 8 Ball, and where it says display name, I'm going to come here and I'm going to change it to Clean Spaces, and I'm going to click on OK. Then I'm going to click on OK. And now you're going to see the Magic 8 Ball there. That was your creation of the macro and the button. Now, we have this document and now we're ready to save it so that we can use it for vocabulary building. We're going to go to File, Save As. We're going to browse. You'll notice that we're in the Topic Files to be Cleaned folder. We want to click on Topic Files and we're going to actually go to My Clean Text. This is where you should put all the documents that are ready for Vocabulary Builder. We're going to leave the name as it is, but we want to change the Save As type because it's better to run plain text documents through Dragon. When you save a document as a plain text, it removes any formatting that may be contained in a Word document, such as line numbers, page numbers, graphic lines, borders, headers, and footers. Those are all removed. So we save it as a plain text, we leave the name as is, and then we'll click on Save. It'll ask us if we want to convert. We want to say OK. We're going to close out of Microsoft Word. Now, I am going to, we've cleaned that transcript. Now I want to show you how we'll use that macro on another transcript. And I've taken the liberty of creating another sample transcript we can use. So I'm going to double click on this transcript. And this is grant applications. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do File, Save As. We're going to save it to the To Be Cleaned folder. So we have to browse to the C drive, Topic Files, To Be Cleaned, and this is Electronic Submission of Grant Applications. Okay, and I'm going to do Save. Now, the name has changed, so I can work within this document. I will delete everything before the document and everything at the end of the document. There is no disclaimer at the end, so I'm going to press Control Home and get to the top of the document. And because I am a purist, I want you to notice how this speaker is set up different, but I'm going to highlight this speaker. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to paste it into the copy and find and replace. I'm going to do my speakers. Now I'm going to do Control Find. I am going to find the chevrons so I can find the other speakers. Then I'll highlight them. And this says this was Dwyer, who was number 1. So I'm going to do this. Highlight that. Do Control H. And I'm going to make this be speaker 1 because that's who is speaking. I'm going to look for the chevrons again. Okay, it says no matches. So that is good. So I'm going to do Control Home, and I'm going to click on my Magic 8 Ball, and the macro is going to do its magic. And when you have a long document, this document was 115 pages long, it may look as though Word is locking up, when in fact it's not. You just have to be patient and let it do its thing. Now, one thing I did fail to mention on the previous document is that you should spell check your document before you save it. I'm not going to make any changes to names, so I'm going to ignore all. I'm going to ignore this since it appears to be the name of a company. I'm going to ignore this since it's a name. I'm going to ignore this. I'm going to change this. Ignore this one. Change this. I'm going to delete the repeated word. Then, last but not least, I'm going to save this document. File, Save As. Browse to Topic Files and My Clean Text. Don't forget to change the Save As type to plain text and save. And OK. And you have just created 2 documents for vocabulary building. Congratulations. Now that we have created those 2 documents for vocabulary building, I'm going to take you through the process of Learn from Specific Documents. I'm going to go to Start, Dragon, going to open up my user, which is GN Mike. I'm going to click on Open. Once my user is loaded, I'm going to go to Vocabulary, Learn from Specific Documents. Here I will do 2 things. I will find unknown words and I will adapt to writing style. So I'm going to click on Next. I'm going to click on Add Document, as I only want to run the 2 documents that we just cleaned up. I will go to the C drive. I will go to Topic Files, My Clean Text, and I will find the 2 documents I just created. electronic submission of grant applications. And then the other one was UN, discrimination. So I'm going to open, actually, it was UN disability. I'm going to open that. And now I'm going to click on next. And what's going to happen in this process is Dragon is going to analyze the documents to find new words and is also going to analyze it for context. Learn from specific documents is very important because what it does is it helps Dragon learn from the context in which you will be speaking. So I clicked on next, and this is going to give me a list of all the words that were found. Now, when looking through this list, you have to think about a couple of different things. First of all, are there any misspellings in this list? And two, are there words here that might be capitalized that should not be? You also have to take into consideration that there may be names here that you might not see again. And so, let's see, I'll do microfinance. Listservs is something. I'll do e-application. And those will be the only ones I will choose. So I'll click on next. And it's going to come to train words. And what I want to do is check all. Because when you add words to the user profile, I believe it's important to train them before you add them. So I'm going to click on next. And I forgot to click on train, which is a bad thing. So I will not train those words. What Dragon is doing now, it's adapting to the writing style. Depending on how many transcripts you run through and how long they are, this could take a while. Don't be alarmed if it seems as though it's stuck. It can do that, but then it will catch up. Now that adaptation is finished, we will click on next and finish, and we will actually go to File, Save User Profile, and then Profile, Exit Dragon. And we are done. Thank you for watching this video. We have plenty more on the AudioScribe YouTube page. Thank you.